Today I want to talk to you through my favorite screen in the Get Fish Marine lineup. This is actually off of my personal boat. This is the Edge 19 Mark II unit. It's nestled right there in the middle between our core 16-inch unit and our big Pano 22. This one fits a lot of boats and hits an excellent price point, 1080p. We'll talk through all the details here in just a second. All right, like I mentioned, this is my favorite screen in the lineup. This one really hits the sweet spot for a lot of boats. When you start to get to that 22-inch range, you're really limited on what type of boat you can fit. And if you wanted two screens, you can probably almost forget about it. The 19-inch gives you a little bit more wiggle room, and you still get a really, really big screen. You can tell your buddies that yours is bigger than theirs. Anyway, this is the 19, and it is paired up with a Garmin GPS Map 8612 XSV, which is nestled just right behind this display here, and we have it on mapping. Now this screen, hopefully it's not blown out on the actual camera here. I have it turned down to 38% brightness, so it's really dimmed down so you can hopefully see a pretty good amount of detail on here. Now what I want to talk through is a few different things that makes the Edge 19 is such an awesome screen. So it's a full 1920 by 1080p resolution screen. So that's going to perfectly match up with a lot of different Garmin units out there. Right there, perfect with our 8612 XSV, which is also a 1920 by 1080p screen. So it's a one-for-one match. Every pixel you get on the Garmin unit, you get over here in a much, much wider screen. It's an 18.5-inch diagonal screen. And what I find, and like I said, this is off my personal boat, what I find is you get that better target separation. You get those pixels stretched out there, you're looking at a bigger image, and you're able to pick out more detail on those fish, separate them from structure, especially out here in Texas. This is actually Lake Fork here. If you've seen that, it's full of flooded timber. Trying to pluck those fish out of some of that timber can be really, really a challenge. And the more pixels you have dedicated to that image, the better target separation you're going to get. I've also noticed that it helps out with species identification. If you're like me, when you first started doing LiveScope, you find yourself casting at all of these fish and they're not paying your lure any attention. They're probably carp, or they're gar, they're catfish, there's something else that doesn't really care about your bass lure. And that really has helped me out quite a bit. Enough about me and fishing. Let's talk more about the screen. Anti-glare is a big, big deal when it comes to fishing out there on the water. As you can imagine, as you've probably experienced, fishing out there in the sun has its own unique set of challenges. Now this is a full 1500 nit brightness screen, very, very bright, right up there with everybody else in the market. Very bright screen to help with the sunlight visibility. Now we do have a very aggressive anti-glare coating on it, more so aggressive than a lot of the other competitors out there, and I feel that that's an advantage for us. When you start to get into that glare, it starts to matter like what color shirt you're wearing that day. You can really see your reflection during the day. That creates more eye fatigue, and it's just harder to see. You're constantly moving your head around trying to get that part of the image that you want. And with that anti-glare coating that we have on here, it's very, very sharp. Now this is a Mark II unit. We debuted these at the beginning of 2026, and we made a few key differences there. Maintain the same price point as a Mark I, but we wanted to get some benefits out there that really will help make a difference in the day-to-day fishing application. The first thing is we've really slimmed up the screen. Our previous generation had buttons along the edge here, which actually added quite a bit of glass to the screen. Glass is very heavy, so weight reduction was a big deal with this one. Buttons are now relocated on the side of the unit. Now you don't really need to use the buttons all that often. Primarily, I'm just using the second button down and third button down to adjust the brightness of the screen. First thing in the morning, you may want to turn that brightness all the way down. You know, once the sun gets up, go ahead and crank it all the way up. But it's nice to have them there along the side, easy to get to, no remote or anything that you have to find, look for batteries for, right there on the side of the screen, ready to go. Okay, we also made a new cradle or mount system for our screen. There's dual pivots with metal teeth, and it's a lot lighter as well. So I keep saying weight. What does this thing weigh? It's 14.6 pounds with the aluminum stand. Now that is 1/4 inch aluminum, and it's very, very lightweight, and we wanted to make sure that we help cut as much weight off the bow as much as possible to make this a very competitive screen. You're not adding a ton of mass to your boat, impacting your bow lift. We're trying to keep the weight off that for you. Now a little bit more about the screen. It's all IP67 waterproof rated, so that's going to be your power connection, your HDMI connection, and your USB connection. You can spray this thing down with water. We have done that side by side with some other screens, and I can assure you that it's going to have a very good performance in all weather conditions when it comes to water intrusion. Now the screen does have a 1000:1 contrast ratio. That's really the difference between your brightest brights and your darkest darks. I really only mention that because our 16-inch unit is at 800:1. The 19 and the 22 are both 1000:1. So if you're looking at the details, do I want a 16 or a 19? That may help nudge you along. This one does have deeper blacks. Now, if I haven't mentioned it already, these are fully compatible with several different Garmin GPS map units. We have a full list on our compatibility. If you go to the top of our website, it says compatibility. That's going to give you our full chart that's going to cover Garmin, and then we'll have some detail there about Lowrance. We even have a video on Lowrance if that's something that you're interested in, but we're just going to talk about the Garmin today since that's what we have it paired up with. Full touch capability. There is no lag whatsoever. Everything you see on that screen right behind you, you're going to get on this screen as well. We'll jump over to LiveScope so you can see that. They're just kind of in, simulator mode. Very, very nice image here. Really nice to stretch that out. Usually when I'm running my boat, if I'm really scanning open water with this 19-inch, I'm running at 100 minimum forward range, and I'm really comfortable going 120, 130 if I'm really trying to scan way out there, cover a lot of water, and be efficient while I'm out there. Because we all know when you're out there fishing, at least for me, I have very limited time. Usually have something to do with the family, and we want to make sure we're catching as many fish as possible. So we're stretching out that range. Helps you cover more water, or maybe more water than your competitor, gives you an edge. We'll take anything we can get, right? The next thing I want to mention is our sun cover. This is a very durable, hard plastic cover. It's done very intentionally. It's meant to take quite a beating if you happen to put it in that case. Obviously, we don't recommend that, but it will be very robust for you. Now you kind of click it on there, and it seats down. You'll notice that it will make this movement up and down. When it's down, it's locked on there better. We also include a buckle that you must use anytime that you're trailering or running the boat at speed. Helps keep this cover from walking around and perhaps going into orbit. Now to take it off, the best way to do that is to slide it up first, like that. You can pop it with your palm as well, and then peel it off. If you don't do that and you just rip it off, you risk to break these little tabs off, and that's no bueno. So go ahead and make sure you slide it up there and then pop it on there and put your buckle back on. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the comment section. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can email us at support@getfishmarine.com. Like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.